of you to do that. So
Great.
thank you.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's just 6:30, so we're going to call the recreation meeting to order tonight. First, before we begin, I know we have some people on Zoom, so we have to do a roll call for everybody. So, Bob, why don't you start us off?
Bob Wyden, here.
Eric Bamber, here.
Laura Noonan.
Nancy Zimlak.
Melissa Pucci.
Rich Hand
Alicia should be.
and Alyssa?
Alicia.
Alicia.
Alicia Williams.
Yep.
Here.
Great, thank you. So with that, we got some new members. So want to welcome to our committee. So Nancy and Alicia,
Alicia Williams.
who's on Zoom, and thank you for joining. I know you're on vacation down in Miami. Is that right?
Yes.
In the warmer weather.
Yes. No snow here.
No snow. Yeah, it's pretty raw today. Just to let you know up here. So before we begin, I just like to, have you introduce yourselves to the committee and tell us, why you want to, join here, some of your thoughts about recreation. So Nancy, since you're here, we'll give you first to introduce yourself.
First up.
Yeah.
Well, I've been a volunteer on various town boards and committees over the years, especially since I retired in 2014. Prior to that, I was an avid volunteer at my son's school. So why did I apply for this? Well, I recently left a stint at the Council on Aging. And it was a very satisfying experience. First, I started as a volunteer first in technology, and then I went into Council on Aging business. And one of the things that I learned from my experience is the importance of activity as you get older. And I think perhaps maybe I can bring that with me over here to the Recreation Committee, especially as we move forward into the new center and looking at ways to accommodate all ages.
Great. Well, welcome and thank you. Thank you for volunteering for this committee and the other committees that you've been on as well. Thank you very much. And from the Sunshine State.
I have been in the community for 14 years and I have 3 kids in the community, and I really kind of was paying attention to what recreation was doing because of Article 14. And I feel like because I have a special ed kiddo that I could maybe help give some great ideas for recreation. And I was on CPAC and I just thought it would be great to, be an associate member, see if I could help and just pitch in.
Great. Well, again, thank you for joining during your vacation and looking forward to have you here in person during our next meeting.
Yes, definitely. Thanks.
Thank you. Any public comment? And just a note here, we're going to have public comment after any agenda item. So just let everyone know and the public know that if you'd like to have any comments after the agenda item that we talk about, please speak up. So right now, any public comment?
Can I just?
Yeah.
Karen Janowski, 30 Zenit Circle. Thank you for.
Thank you for the recommendation
Yes,
with the,
yeah.
the live captions.
That
That's
is great to see.
a no-brainer. I wish we would have done it before. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing it
It's
to our
great.
attention.
And it's, look at how easy and it's picking up everything. It's really great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I don't see anything online, Rich,
No.
with hands waved.
No, wait.
Nope.
Okay. All right. So the next agenda, hi, Pete. How you doing? So Pete, we're gonna turn the microphone over to you and to your organization. So take it away.
Pete Comaderas, 24 Smith Ave, Friends of Reading Rec. Just want to come down and first off announce that I'm stepping down from Friends of Reading Rec. JT is taking over. Amy and I are moving down in South Shore Hall full time. Bittersweet moments. We had such a great time. We raised our kids. We came here as a young married couple, no kids, and they left the house now. So, so it was time for us to move on. And Jake and I have been working together with Friends Ready Rec the past 3 years, the dad-daughter dance. He is really passionate about taking his organization and working with him 3 years. I have all the confidence that he's gonna do a bang up job and exceed what we've done.
No pressure.
But he has really jumped in. He's building a coalition of younger families in town. And
Yep.
new blood in town to really kind of help bring this thing to the next generation. And we started this in, geez, when Jimmy first came on board. First
That was
time.
in 2006, maybe, right before I started.
And back when John Tudo was just, starting out.
Yeah.
and It's come a long way with it. It has a lot of great volunteers and folks who have been blessed to work with our group over the years. But I have all the confidence in Jake to take it over. So Jake,
Yeah,
Jake.
thank you.
introduce yourself.
Jake T, 211 Bancroft Ave. I moved here, young couple, young kids. 5 years later, we've got 3 little girls, so I'm really intertwined in the community and I wanted to give back and meeting Pete a couple of years back, playing tennis, kind of understanding what the organization looked like, how it ran. I'm excited, we're in the recruitment stage of getting it, back up running to its full potential and yeah, just exciting to have you guys partner with us, so and us partner with you guys, so.
That's awesome.
And I'd like to just thank Pete for the last, 21 plus years. There's been staple programs in this community. It's all because of him. Those fireworks that you see or you hear from your home if you're not in attendance, that is because of him. The daddy-daughter dance that started, that continues to grow, started that. There was road races. There's been a number of events. I'm kind of bummed that he's leaving. I'm not gonna lie. I met with Pete and Jake about probably maybe a month and a half ago. We sat down, had some pizza at Capri and kind of listened to what Jake had to say. And like Pete says, like I have the utmost confidence too. He's coming in with a fresh mind, blinders off, new ideas. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do and what we can do to help him reach his goals and then provide more for the community like Pete has for the last 21 years. And then the last thing, are you going to be at the fireworks this year?
That should be, yeah.
You should be. You should be.
That should
You will be.
You.
One last
Just
hurrah.
Just one more?
Yeah.
One more. We're not going to get the details about one more. One more time, Pete. But thank you for all you did. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. for everything.
Yeah.
Wish you a lot of luck.
I think if we could, as a committee and everything, somehow applause or whatever, and thank you, Pete. I mean.
Yeah.
Personally and everything, and
No,
you are Mr. Redding over these years. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for support along the way. We've been.
Absolutely.
Can't see that.
I just wanted to say thank you in person to Pete. I was part of the initial crew that formed the Friends of Reading seniors 60
Oh,
plus.
yes, yeah.
And he was very, very helpful, giving us information and a basis for forming that crew.
Oh,
So,
excellent.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've known Pete for probably 20 years as well. Our children grew up together as well. We've coached together as well. Have to keep him off the sidelines sometimes, yeah. But
Passionate.
a little passionate there, but that passionate is great, right? In terms of Pete, you had passion not only for recreation, but helping out everybody in this community. Everyone loves you in this community. You're well loved. And I know just from a recreation standpoint, from a personal standpoint, your organization you started over 20 years ago has done so much for this town. And we're all grateful for what you have done, not only for you, but your family. Amy has done a lot for this community as well. You came and left your mark here for sure. And I think this town owes you a great thank you for everything you have done here for us.
Thanks, sir. It goes both ways. Very satisfying.
Yeah, and Jake, we're looking forward to you.
Good luck, Jake.
Yeah, what has been passed to you, right?
Flip-flops.
Shorts.
that in the
Oh, shorts, where's the shorts?
Shorts.
You get shorts and flip-flops, when it's cold out, right?
That's uniform.
Yeah, that is. And Pete,
Thank you guys very much.
best of,
Thank you for your support.
and hopefully you'll be back sometime, play some tennis with us and stuff and have some drinks as well,
Really has it.
Anybody else on the committee? Aaron, anybody from public? Anybody? All right.
Anyone online?
Anybody online?
I'll say
Jenna?
a few words. I mean, what everyone else said, I completely echo. Pete, you're just an absolute legend. There's no other way to put it. You really have just done incredible things in our community, and we'll miss just seeing you around and seeing your smiling face and pub crawling and fundraising and all of those good things. So thanks so much for all your years of service to the community. I wish that there was more that we could do for you, maybe in the future, some type of,
I got it, Jenna. I got it.
yeah, wink, wink. But
There
thanks
was a
for
win.
everything. We'll miss you and have fun in your new adventure.
Yeah,
Thank you,
You
Jen.
deserve
Thank you
it.
for it too. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's for the kids.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you.
Pete, for
Thank you.
everything. Thanks, Jake. Good to see you around. Yeah. We'll see you, Pete.
Take care.
Yeah, be in touch.
See you soon, man.
Yep.
Thanks, Pete.
See you, Jake. All right, take care.
You, Jake.
Good night.
All right, next item is Article 14. Before we begin, I just want to have Bob just do an introduction to this Article 14 and give us all a background so we're all on the same page, what this means. So Bob, I know you're on Zoom, if you could just give us, a summary of what Article 14 is and.
I'm gonna pull it up online. Let's see, okay. All right. This is as of March 20th.
All right,
Roger.
so I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, so this all stemmed from Eric making an instructional motion last year at town meeting that requested the town manager and staff, inclusive of schools, identify and create a sustainable funding mechanism for expanding adaptive programming using existing town funds and future donations from the Burbank Ice Authority. Separately, please investigate how existing funds currently with the town can be allocated for additional recreational programming and facilities, which may include additional adaptive programming. So that is where this all started. Fast forward to now, and we have Article 14 on the table, and I'm 100% prepared. I didn't think I'd be doing all of this. So Article 14, which can you guys see on the screen?
Yes. Yep.
Jim, do you want me to read the entire thing, or?
It's up to you. I do have copies here too, what we're showing on the screen if someone doesn't have.
What
Yes,
would the committee like? What would the committee like me to do?
He needs to read the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think you need to read. Yeah, I think
Sure,
it's just
I'll read
in
the whole
terms
thing.
of,
Do you want me to read the whole thing? I'm sorry.
No, I don't think you need to read the whole thing.
Okay.
I think we,
Okay.
is there anything you want to highlight?
So the gist of Article 14 is that it would be creating a stabilization fund with the money from Burbank to put towards a unified and adaptive programming. I believe up to 25% for each. Am I correct in that, Jim?
Yes,
No,
it's gotta be minimum of 25%. Well, I mean,
up to 100%.
up to 100%, minimum 25. up to
Minimum.
100%.
Minimum 25 up to 100% going to those two programs. I feel that, we've talked about this as a committee for quite some time, and we've never said no to money being offered for recreation programs. I think it's very important that we show our support of this and hoping that it passes town meeting. I think I don't see this as being the end all be all. I think this is a great start to, hopefully to build out these programs. And I look at it like with the money that we got for the Y with the with the COVID money. I look at it as seed money to get these programs off the ground and to grow them. Ultimately the goal from the schools is to grow this to the middle school and elementary levels. And unfortunately, there's only so much room in the budget. And I had a conversation with Dr. Milichewski. I've emailed him He seems to be in complete support of this. Unfortunately, we're losing Dr. Milichewski, which is, going to be a sad day for our town, unfortunately. But the gist of this is to take this money from Burbank and try to grow these programs and do something beneficial for these kids. And I apologize if I'm not saying it as eloquently as some others may, but I believe with all my heart that we should support this.
Yeah, thank you. So let's go.
Yeah, I'd love to follow up, Bob. Bob,
Yeah.
thank you for highlighting this and for asking them to put it on the agenda. I obviously share your passion and I appreciate your passion and you bringing all the attention to it. As the mother of a disabled child, a severely disabled child, I am extremely passionate about adaptive programming. And I've said, multiple times in these meetings, how discouraging it is to sign on to the recreation website to sign myself or my other two non-disabled children up for programs and just scroll and just scroll and just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll through all the very many great, wonderful offerings we have for children and adults that are able-bodied in one way or another. And there was, when I first started here, just the one program, the Special Skates, which is an amazing program and my son loves it. And we have since offered some inclusion sports, but it's only for, I think, little ones, not even for my 9-year-old who just turned 10 over the weekend. So it's very limited in age group. And, you don't stop being disabled at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way. We need, people say we need to do this for the kids, but it's for kids and for adults. Once you turn 22, 23, 50, you still maybe want to do something with recreation and there's just nothing. And or next to nothing. And when I have brought this to the attention, the answer is always, there's just no money to get it off the ground and running. You need to hire, whether it be a TPA, a therapeutic coordinator, or just a coach to run a program. You need money to start. And it's always been, we don't have the money, we don't have the money, we don't have the money. So when this great out of the box idea came about in the way it did, I'm really excited about it. I think that it's a great way to get this off the ground. And I hear a lot of people that speak against it to say, well, it doesn't make sense because this amount fluctuates. It's not always dependable. But right now we have nothing. So to sometimes have something, it's so very needed. It's such a great start. It's so important. And I also like that it's two-sided here because somehow along the way through our many discussions about this, it stopped being about adaptive programming, money for funding adaptive programming, and it started being about unified sports. And I believe that the conversation got sidetracked because people were supporting it or meaning to support it, but then they weren't understanding that the words unified and adaptive are not interchangeable necessarily, because the unified program is, of course, a great program. It's run through Special Olympics and it's partnering with the schools. And then the schools can offer a unified sports team, which is unified in that you have disabled children and non-disabled children unified on team together. And this is supplying some funding for that. But then aside from that, we have the town side, which is separate from the schools. And we obviously are rec department here, and rec runs programming for adults and people that don't go to the schools and just town programming. So to have this be two-sided and to be thinking about both of them at the same time, and trying to fill a need in this out of the box way, I think is fantastic. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Hi. Yes.
I might have something to say.
Yeah, go for it. Take your time.
Yeah, thanks, Bob, for putting this on the agenda and giving us an opportunity to talk about it as a rec committee. So first, I want to say that, this has been a hot topic around town. It's been talked about a lot in a lot of different, committees. So I think it's really wonderful that we're talking about unified sports. People are talking about unified sports. They're talking about therapeutic recreation and adaptive sports. There's been an overwhelming positive response. I haven't heard one person say that they don't support unified or adaptive sports. There have been disagreements on how to fund it, but not one person has said that they do not support that. And that's really wonderful. Even at town meeting, there was, great support of Eric's instructional motion. So I think, just want to say that piece of it, that that's
Mhm.
wonderful that the community is coming together and we're talking about this need. So I fully support Article 14.
Mhm.
I think that, some people have raised concerns. Laura, I'm probably going to repeat some of what you've said, so I apologize. But some people have, talked about that it's not a stable funding source. Well, right now in our recal budget, we do have a funding source for a therapeutic recreation specialist, which is wonderful. And so my understanding is that this is not going to go towards that, but this is going to go towards supporting that position. So what does that mean? That means supporting it maybe with some equipment or supplies or some sort of savings to get the program off the ground, to offer some future stability. And so on years when things might be a little tight, we're going to have this stabilization fund to help support this program to keep it going. Is it going to be the sole piece, the sole bucket of money? No, it's just going to be a savings account to help support the therapeutic recreation program. And also for Unified, they have some funding through the school, but this is going to help support that funding as well. Some people say, why shouldn't this just be a line item in the town budget? Well, you know what? There's a lot of committees and boards looking for money from the town. This way, this is an opportunity for us to say as a community, we prioritize this with all the competing demands that there are in town of all committees needing different things. This is a way to prioritize the funds that we all agree is a wonderful way to use funds. So in order for us not to have to compete for funding, this is a great avenue to support this type of funding. What else do I want to say? Give me a minute here.
Take your time. Take your time.
I just think that it shows a commitment to pledge some revenue to expanding, to supporting this program, possibly expanding it in the future. I know that some people have said, well, we don't have some stable money coming in from Burbank, but I would argue that our town accountant has reported to FinCom on 3/11 that over the past 15 years, that Burbank has paid on average $63,000 a year in rent to the town. So that's a significant amount of money. And only a portion of that, 25% of that would go towards Unified, 25, I think, would go towards Reading Rec. And the other 50% can go towards free cash. I believe that's what the motion is to town right now, unless I think the board selected, I don't know. I don't think the board changed it. I think they kind of left it a little bit open, up to 100%. So anyway, that's kind of my 2 cents. So I'm really supportive of this. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Nancy's over here.
Oh, hi, Nancy. Oh, there you go.
I'm really of 2 minds on this. This is in the last month and a half, it's really the first time that I've heard of what's being proposed in Article 14. So part of me as a town meeting member wished that it had been thoroughly researched by the town, been looked at, what are alternative processes, what are other priorities. As you mentioned, there are other town priorities. And I wish there had been a bit more due diligence by the town in putting this in place. The other half of me, though, is a supporter of 60+ programming. And I noticed that the word therapeutic programs is mentioned in here. And that is a big new area for over 60 programming. So my assumption is that should the town vote to approve this, that a fair percentage of the budget not only go to sports programs for the elementary school kids or the high school kids, whatever, but there's a large 60+ population out there that, and the 60 plus, the senior budget is level funded next year. It's at a bare minimum. It can barely fund the activities that have to finish out this fiscal year. So I'm really looking forward in that respect to see what can be done in collaborating with recreation and elder and human services for the use of therapeutic programming.
Yeah.
Can I just
Sure.
respond?
Sure, absolutely.
So the therapeutic recreation specialist that's in the recal budget, that is for the entire town. So that's not just for children, it's not just for older adults, it's for all ages. So the money for Article 14 would be coming to the recreation department to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but
Yeah, and
this
then you're
would,
talking like whether it's mobility, sight, vision, things like
Yeah.
that, that fit.
maybe there's some sort of equipment that is needed to make a current
No,
program
I
accessible.
understood
So
that
it would go towards all ages.
Yeah,
It would
I
support
underst-
all ages.
I understood that this staff position is not part of this funding.
Right.
But what can be part of this funding, and I think there'll be a strong interest from the Council on Aging and other senior citizens for therapeutic programs, which exactly, just as you described, Jim.
Can I ask Melissa a question?
Sure.
Did you say it was $63,000 that they pay a year? I don't know why I thought it was more. Is that just like an average?
That's an average.
Okay, all right, that
Last
makes
15 years.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
'Cause I thought,
Yeah.
so that's not like a hefty part of our budget even for like this to be such a hubbub, hot topic
Right.
going on here. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, right.
It's kind of like a drop in the bucket and it's for such a needed, important cause.
So
It's,
just to backtrack on this, I remember when Eric brought this up. Bob, correct me if on the history of it, because you kind of quickly covered it. I kind of thought this was a no-brainer back when it was proposed. I don't know why, like, if Tom is, if the superintendent is for it and is, it's kind of like, well, let's take management's recommendation here.
Right.
Not only that, I'm wondering in the adaptive sports stuff with other communities, are we violating anything here if we don't underfunded programming for in communities that if we have an opportunity to,
to make it.
Bob, correct, right? I just remember Eric bringing it up and it was kind of like formality. Okay. Sounds great. I remember, Lisa, you talking about it, like.
Well,
Right?
town meeting still has to approve the
Right.
Oh,
town
right,
meeting has to
okay.
approve it because of, it's money going into the town.
Got it.
Yeah.
That town meeting controls the purse, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So,
Yeah, I guess my feedback is, kind of what you were saying is that, this has been on our radar screen
Yeah.
from the recreation department for many years, right?
Yeah.
Long,
So
long
even
time.
before I even.
Yeah, I mean, when
Okay.
I've been on the 15 years, this has been on conversation, right? And, we never had the opportunity like it is in front of us, I guess I would say, just in terms of dollars and cents to get to this point. And to me, like, I think I'm stealing some of your words or Bob's words, like it's seed money, right? Like you need to take one step, right? And this is like one step on this big journey. It's not going to stop with
Yeah.
this. I don't think this is going to stop. I think this is just the beginning. This is like to kind of jumpstart something. This is, to get something going.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at this, right? And if this money, and it could fluctuate, right? Because Burbank could use the money for a new Zamboni or something, right?
Right.
So we don't know what the dollars and cents would be, but now it's on the radar screen. We're working on it. Jim's team's working on it, right? You have some money to do something for this part of this community we haven't done in many years. So,
Yeah.
to me, I think it's
And via town meeting and via the school committee or school process, right? They're the ones that ultimately.
Well, it seems like there's two buckets, right?
Seems like there's two buckets.
Two
buckets.
stabilization
Two bu-
funds.
Yeah, yeah, there's one for the school and one for recreation.
Got it.
And this is.
So that's why we're.
Because they're separate.
That's why we're talking
Thanks
about
for clarifying.
for recreation,
I
right?
apologize.
No, yeah.
So unified sports is.
Got it. That's
your
why there's
Special
two.
Olympics,
That's
yeah,
why
and
there's
the
two.
schools.
Right, right.
And then that would not, anything that went to the schools would not be for the town. And then vice versa, because there's a town budget that the schools
Got
already
it.
have, so.
And
a piece of
obviously,
minutes, yeah.
you've been working on this for extended period of time.
Trying to get more therapeutic recreation, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Right.
I got you.
I can't work on it.
Because that
I don't
was-
know if we have any money.
That was,
Right.
right, and that was some of the stuff that was going on with Futo that you mentioned about
Yes.
for him helping
So
out.
some of that ARPA money from that the YMCA got started some programs. And I think that's really what put a spotlight on, where some of the needs are,
Right,
right? And when I was part of one of the, asking for those
I
resources.
remember.
And so we talked about it being seed money,
Yeah.
and as they started creating those programs, we've even had a parent come here a few months ago, you might recall, asking for, what about programming for young adults with disabilities?
Right.
Mhm.
And I think that this is, again, more seed money to just try to help with those types of
Right,
programming.
right, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, and for the last, I'm gonna say 8 months, Jenna and myself have been bouncing around to different towns, speaking with their therapeutic recreation departments. We've been to Andover, we've been to Burlington and Lexington, who has huge therapeutic recreation programs right now. And their biggest thing was saying, you gotta do it correctly first. You don't wanna just throw out programs and not have a CTRS, which is certified therapeutic recreation specialist run it, because there is trust that needs to be built up with these families. You got to do it properly right away. You don't want to just throw someone out there and say, this is therapeutic rec. You want to build this program. The thing they kept reiterating was it takes time. So getting this funding here, any way that we can get funding,
Exactly.
any way we can get funding. I'm not talking about this article. I'm not going to persuade anyone. Any way we can get funding to help support this big gap that we're missing would be wonderful.
Can I jump in?
Sure.
I just want to first off thank Eric. I don't think I've had a chance to say thank you for bringing this to the table because it absolutely is needed. I actually was going to just recommend that if people haven't gone onto the Burlington website and looked at their therapeutic support PDF, it is unbelievable. I actually had a 45-minute conversation with their therapeutic support person looking for activities for my son. And they have one-to-ones for some of these programs. Like that means that they have, your kid can go play, say, pickleball, and they have somebody join in. And so it's really, we don't have anything like that. It's amazing. So if you haven't looked, please go look. But I echo what Melissa has said and what Laura has said. I won't, repeat it, but it's really needed. And I think we're on the right track. And I just want to say thank you to Eric.
Thank you. Anybody else from the rec committee before we open up for public comment? Anybody on that?
Nope.
All right, open up to public comment. Anybody? Oh, Andrew, sorry.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
come on up if you want.
Can
Yeah.
I don't
Sure.
sit at your table, but I'll just, so.
Name and address.
Angela Benda, Orchard Park Drive. Former member of the Recreation Committee and longtime town meeting member. So as a former Recreation Committee member and a longtime town meeting member, I feel a couple of different minds about this. As a town meeting member, I look at things from a process and I'm looking at the finances of things. There is no one, I think, who is against these programs. So we need to put that out there because I've actually been accused I've had someone say to me, what do you have against kids with disabilities? And that is just an awful thing, an awful argument to make about, looking at the way that this is funded. A couple things, the instructional motion that Eric Gaffin made stated that to look at the Burbank donations. And it's really clear, it needs to be made really clear. There are no Burbank donations. This was established by Burbank as rent in lieu of taxes. These are tax monies. This is not donation money. And I voted on this in 2011. So I'm very aware of what this money was supposed to go to and what it has gone to over the past many years. And some of it has gone to recreation, but other money has just gone to, you know, plow the fields, plow the roads and do other things. And the money was going into a separate fund. That's how it was established, that it went into a fund, and it might even have been mislabeled a donation fund. And last summer, Town Council Ivor Fried and Sharon Engstrom, our CFO, looked into what it was. And one of the reasons was because people were asking for this money. Like, can I have this money? Can I have this money? And so they wanted to be seen, because there were people who were saying, this money, we've had a Burbank trustee come here and say, Nelson Burbank wanted this to go there, but they researched this, and there is nothing in anything that they researched that said this is what the money needs to go for, sports or anything like that. It can be used for anything. So last year, the superintendent asked, hey, can I use this money? There's $200,000 went to pickleball. There was $200,000 left in the fund. Can I use this money for this? And the superintendent was told, no, this is not the right source of funding for something like this. Because the funding is so when Mr. McFadden was giving a tour to the select board and a couple other people, there was a discussion about, that back lot. One of the select board members said, we're opening up the lease to discuss other things, and Jane Wellman, she was there, and she said, we're not opening up the lease. This is a mutual parking agreement. We get to use their parking, they get to use our parking, recal. The Burbank can use recal parking. If it's necessary, we can use their parking. It was just a mutual parking agreement. At some point, after the dissolution of the Burbank Fund, the Burbank Ice Arena Authority made it a requirement that there be an article to go to town meeting saying how they wanted the money to be spent. So they didn't like the idea, it appears, that the money would go into free cash. They wanted to direct how the funds went. And suddenly it was a requirement for the parking.
Are we getting off topic here?
Yeah.
Yeah, is there a time limit?
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think so.
It's all, I don't know if there's a time limit. There's never been a time limit before. We've allowed pickleball people lots of time to speak. But anyway,
Angela, come on.
so there was a FinCom meeting last week. The vote was 4-4. FinCom members had a lot of issue with this money being used for this purpose. And also, they had a lot of issues with the whole process. One of them was that it's not a stable source of money. So even if Article 14 passes, there was no money to fund the program next year. The school committee cut it. We should be asking, why did the school committee cut it? It was a 4-4 vote. If you ever go to, if you watch town meeting, FinCom almost never has split votes. They're almost unanimous votes. People had a lot of questions about the process of the money. It goes into a stabilization fund. It needs to be voted out on a yearly basis, which makes it very difficult for the money to actually be spent. So even if you have a big pot of money, it's not going to be spent without town meeting's approval. That is what is.
With all due respect, this is not town meeting, ma'am,
Yeah.
and
But we're talking about-
very off topic.
We're talking about Article 14.
We,
Yeah, I guess, go ahead.
I just,
We're talking about, are you not talking about a town?
it's been a very long time.
Article? You are.
We are, right, but I mean, I think I'd like
You're
this.
using procedural stuff for a rec committee for Burbank who just wants to help out with some people in an adaptive program.
Burbank doesn't.
And they already
Burbank
spoke a
doesn't
lot,
have
Angela.
money.
Angela,
Burbank
you,
doesn't have
Angela,
money.
Hang on, go ahead.
you spoke a lot,
We got it.
okay? We got it. We understand. We can read the papers on it. Were you in the meeting last year when Eric was like, you guys are using procedural votes about a donation and funding? Hold on, I heard you.
Not a donation.
Okay,
It's not. a
I'm sure,
donation.
okay, so let's go back to what Eric's intent was. When he brought it up, correct, Bob? I mean, that was the intent. Now we're getting into procedural stuff that we're throwing in, FinCom and everybody else for a donation for an adaptive program
It's not a
that rec wants. And Mikuleski said he needs. Okay, so it's not, so.
It's not a donation.
We get that.
So what was
So it's funding.
There are
One at a time,
actually,
one at a time, please.
there are actually much better ways to fund this. I've spoken to Sharon, and Sharon said the proper way to fund this would be to make it a community priority, which would take it out of the budget, make it a community priority with a regular yearly funding source. Nobody's against this. People are against
Are you guys against Burbank?
Oh,
Okay.
There's
Yeah,
not, but there's no
What are we
reason
doing?
why we can't do both. There's no
Exactly.
reason why it can't be both. It doesn't have to just be one funding source. So
Yeah.
this is just one piece. If they want to make it a line item, fantastic.
Right.
Make it a line item as well. If they want to do that, make it into a revolving account, wonderful. It's just another avenue.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that the rent that Burbank pays is not in lieu of taxes. It's rent.
Yeah.
That's it. It's rent.
It's
That's
actually
stated.
in the contract that says rent in lieu of taxes. That's what I voted on when I voted at town meeting. It says rent in lieu of taxes.
It's not how they've referred to it in the past.
Yeah, and we don't have their representatives here
Yeah.
to sit here and discuss this stuff. That,
So,
yeah, so what you kind of gets
so
your
my
point.
point
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
my point is
Yeah.
that it's a great program and this is not the right way to fund it. And
Okay,
FinCom voted 4-4. I'm sure, you're going to do this, but,
I don't know what we're doing.
Well,
I mean, are we voting, approving this?
No, well, actually, I want,
Support.
For
Vote
support.
for support.
All right.
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's our thing, and we
Just the
want,
beginning of it, the vote to support the beginning of it, okay?
yeah, I mean, and we want to make sure, you're finished with your public statement and things like that.
Well, I've been shut down. I mean.
You've had some
you
time.
really- I have, yes.
I guess my point is, we have other items on our agenda,
Okay.
and, I think we heard you, we
People
summarize.
who might be against the funding mechanism
Yeah,
are not against the program.
okay,
And people who are in favor of it need to understand all of the misinformation about what is being said about it.
good.
Okay,
Yeah,
Angela,
thank you.
Angela, here's the deal. Here's the deal, Angela. Perception is reality. The perception is that you're all against this, and so that makes it the reality, all right?
No, it doesn't.
That's all I'm gonna say
Perception
about it.
is the reality.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who is
All
that?
right,
Close
Wow,
public.
perception.
okay. Yeah, so, thank you for your comments.
Any other public?
Any other public comments?
Oh, Marianne Downing.
Marianne Downey?
Thank you. I'm watching and I'm logging in, and I'm not speaking on behalf of all of FinCom, but as a FinCom member, I want to understand how that was characterized. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So two things. A 4-4 vote means half of FinCom was for the idea, and and half of it wanted another funding source. I understand the community priority. That's not the only way to fund this. I think people were expressing about that this is to provide some stability. You could have it be both a community priority and have this fund. I also want to speak to, I was not on town meeting in 2011. I want to speak to characterization of the Burbank money. I have the lease in front of me from the 2011 select board packet. And the clause in the lease does not say rent in lieu of taxes. It just says rent. I've shared this with a couple of rec members in the past. I have the clause of the lease, and it just says, clause 3, the rent to be paid by the tenant to the town shall be calculated and based on the following, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. During FinCom, I asked about the rent in lieu of taxes, and Sharon said no, because I said, right, because we own the property, so we don't collect taxes on property we own. So I just wanted to clarify that. I mean, I'm in support of this. I was one of the 4 that voted in favor. I can appreciate what Angela said about a community priority, and I agree with that. But it takes a lot to get something to be a community priority. And do we want these kids to have to wait another 2 years of a budget cycle till someone gets something as a community priority? Look how many years it took for full day kindergarten to be a community priority. I just feel like right now this is a de minimis amount that could give the program a start. And that's all I needed to say. I'm sure I hit my 2 minutes or whatever the time is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you, Marianne.
thank you. Anybody else from the public before we close it? And if we want to have a vote,
Do we make a motion? What do we?
so we need to make a motion. If we want to vote from a committee standpoint in support or not support of this amendment.
Bob, you should probably, you're the one who, brought this all up as you smile there like.
So I'd like to make a motion that the rec committee support the passing of Article 14 at town meeting.
I'll second that.
Melissa? Okay, so we'll do a roll call. Bob, why don't you go first?
Should we discuss it or?
Any discussion? Sorry,
No, I think we're good.
no discussion. I think we're good.
Mhm.
Right.
So,
Yes,
Roll call.
yes.
yes,
Eric Bamber, yes.
Laura Noonan, yes.
Melissa Pucci, yes.
Rich Hand, yes.
Is Alicia? No.
She-
No,
One
she-
of the Associate.
Associate,
I got you.
great. All right. So thank you. So we're offering our support for Article 14, so 5-0 vote. Right,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you.
We have Andrew McNichol, he's been online. I don't know if we can just switch the agenda items. That would be your call. If we could switch the park ramp presentation. before discussion of joint rec committee and CRC
Oh,
meeting?
absolutely. Yep. Hi, Andrew.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me all right?
Sorry to keep you waiting there.
No, all good. This is still early
Thank you
for
for coming.
me, so.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I'm Andrew McNichol. I'm the Community Development Director. I know the park grant is being brought before you in terms of the dedication of the pickleball parcel that was previously approved last year. So I just wanted to run down some of the specifics before it gets to this year's town meeting to accept the grant. So we had applied for a park grant after the project was approved. We did receive an award of $100,000. However, there's some stipulations and conditions around that that I just want you guys to be aware of and town meeting at large. So thank you, Jim and Jenna, for all their help on this as well. They've done a great job. And I really enjoy working with them. But the real quick tidbits, and I can pull up the plans and any documents if you'd like, but if we set to approve this grant at town meeting, what it will do is put a specific parcel, meaning the pickleball parcel, in outdoor recreation in perpetuity. So the land will not be able to be used for anything else going forward. There are no givebacks on that. There are no turnbacks. You cannot rescind that once you accept the grant. You put the land in perpetuity. Parking must be included on this parcel. We've tried to find a way to do that without impacting design at all, of course, with bids going out and constructions looking to start. So I have that plan here that I can show you where that will be. If the town ever wanted to change this parcel, say to basketball courts or some other outdoor recreational use, it would need to be state approved, any changes. So you would have to go through their programs, and that can be somewhat challenging. This land must be publicly accessible, including non-Reading residents. You can have a fee structure. I know that's come up for this land and this use. The state will need to approve that fee structure, and they will not typically allow you to charge more than 50% for non-Reading residents. So for example, if you charged a Reading resident $10 for pickleball, you couldn't charge a non-Reading resident more than $15, no more than 50% of what you charge, which from my understanding with Jenna is pretty typical practice anyways here in Reading and not out of the realm of what we already do. That's about it. Those are the conditions. Oh, sorry. The last one is that the funding is not available till July 1st. So we are working with the contractor to ensure the construction schedule lines up, but it does have some implications on that. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to pull up the plan if it helps, whatever you like.
Andrew, I got a question for you. You talked a little bit, can you talk a little bit more about the timetable a little bit in terms of the process?
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. So what there typically is a park project agreement. I believe in Reading's case, typically that would go to the recreation committee, but council has advised in Reading's case for it to go to the select board, given that select board is stewards of the land. So that is set to go before the select board, before town meeting. We would like to get CPDC to endorse the full subdivision plan, which is the creation of the road up on this parcel, as well as this new lot line. And when they endorse the subdivision plan, that also allows that to be recorded and separate this as a new lot. And then town meeting's vote is to dedicate this newly created lot to the outdoor recreation use in perpetuity. Once those pieces are in place, we can get the full contract with the state. And come July 1st, so long as we expend certain funding post-July, we'll be eligible to request reimbursement from the state for this.
Right. Nancy.
I have a question. What's the worst case scenario? Say Article 14 doesn't pass town meeting and parking is not included in the Burbank arena, what happens?
So Article 14 and those warrant, this is specific to Article 11, I believe, the park grant. So the shared parking agreements, the recal shared parking anticipation, other is not fully applicable here. That's why the state wants parking on this parcel itself, so that if there are future changes in 30, 50, 100 years, parking to the courts remains in place so that people can use and access them.
So where is the parking? I thought the parking got removed. It used to be in front of the
So we
pickleball courts.
proposed to
You can
put
share your
a
screen
lot
later.
line, if I can share my screen. Yep, thank you, Jim. A lot line here, if you can see it. So this is the recal parking lot over on my left here, the whole parcel A here. We are proposing a lot line here. In essence, what this does is just for that future 30, 50 years, that if something's changed, this parking that's directly perpendicular to the pickleball courts remains in place. There's no signage or restrictions. It just has to be available for the shared use and the pickleball players to use this parking. As indicated, the town would like to keep promotion towards the Burbank shared agreement as long as that advances and works out. But in terms of the lot creation, this is where we'd about put the lot line to meet the state's requirements that parking be within the lot itself to be dedicated.
So Andrew, it looks like
Mhm.
you're taking square footage from recal and giving and allotting it to the pickleball courts.
So it does, right, in terms of the square footages,
Yeah.
recalculate some things, but with the town being in common ownership for zoning purposes and some land use items, adjacent common ownership lots can be one lot, but again, it's about if in 100 years the recal site looked to change, that would be its lot boundary, that red line that was up there. But it still meets all zoning criterias. It meets the setback, it meets the upland area requirements, meets the lot area, the frontage, etc.
I'm assuming that all parties that are involved in the parking issues have been informed of this.
Yeah, it doesn't
Correct.
change any of the structures in terms of the shared parking agreements or other. It's just putting that lot line over. But in terms of contractors, construction, shared parking, doesn't really impact any of that.
Well, parking for the recal building will be impacted. Say, there's a lot of people that play pickleball. And where do people like to park? They like to park real close to where they're going. So that whole back line is now really allocated to pickleball, and it's less parking for recal. So I think I'm hoping that there was a discussion with recal on this, and that there is agreement that loss of those spaces that were restricted to recal are now, because of the lot line moved, will be moved.
Yeah, I don't know if I would classify it as a loss of parking. That parking is still available to recal users. It just
But
can't
not the,
necessarily
but
be recal only, which I don't think was the intent over the entire process to sign that as recal only parking. So,
well, all I know is that currently there's a lot of problems and limited parking. And one of the really serious things was parking for recal. So, and I know that has nothing to do with recreation. So I'm going to end the conversation here.
I
The
understand.
the plan would be to still direct folks to that other parking area, which is
Yeah,
signage,
I
emails.
understand,
But no, I certainly understand
Yeah.
people are gonna go to the easiest way to get there and do that. And there will be policing that's gonna happen. And the good thing is that I'm looking right out that window. So if I see someone pulling in, they go straight over there. We're gonna move on. But no, it'll be a learning
Maybe an
curve.
orange vest and some cones.
Yeah.
You give some parking tickets.
So we need to take a vote on this, right?
This is
I
just a
think you have a
voting.
hand up on the Zoom.
Oh, sorry, I think, was it Bob?
I just had, yep, I just had two questions. So as far as the dollar amount, is $100,000 that we'd be getting back if
Yep.
this gets approved in town meeting?
Yep.
And not so much a question, more of a thought. Is it worth taking this out of the town hands and now involving another layer of government to technically control the land if we decided, if the town decides 10, 15, 20 years to do something different with these courts, how does like the town staff, town manager, what are their thoughts on this?
Yeah, at least at this point, that's why they wanted to bring it to town meeting to have that discussion. I think there's certainly a lot of discussion to be had in that. And the construction schedule too, and how this can impact some things, but by town meeting, maybe the construction schedule is already worked out. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the right golden question is it worth it? And so for this project and this parcel, but that was for town meeting.
Can I, just one more
Yes,
question?
sure.
Is the grant $100,000? Is that the amount in the grant?
Yes, and that's reimbursement based. So we spend and draw down first and then prove that out and request reimbursement.
Okay. Thank you.
Bob, did you have anything else? Your hand's still up.
No,
No, I'm good. I'm good. Sorry about that.
no worries. Anybody else from the public? Anybody on from the public?
Not showing anyone.
So do we need to make a motion to approve this, or is this just more for information purposes?
It would be, it's up to you if you want to go to a vote for support. If you're not sure right now, you can certainly do this. This was brought up at, I think, the last select board meeting. I think Karen Herrick had asked if the recreation committee has weighed in on this. So if someone wants to make a motion, they can. Don't have to. It says potential vote. So it's up to you and the board, the voting members.
Bob, you produced one before there, so.
Yeah.
If you want to produce one, you
So-
don't have to. if you
I
want to,
guess
Bob.
my
Never
last
mind.
question about, so basically we're just saying we support this going on in town meeting for further discussion. Is that
Yeah.
the gist of this at this point?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
All
yeah,
right.
then, yeah, we
All right,
don't.
so I'll make a motion that we vote to support the park grant discussion being, I don't know how to word this. Jim, can you put it
It's
up on
Article
the?
11, Andrew. So
Yep.
what it reads on the agenda, it is discussion and potential vote for support, non-support on the park grant, Article 11.
I make a motion to support Article 11. Yeah, is that enough?
As presented on the warrant.
Yeah, I make a motion to support Article 11 as presented on the warrant.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, let's do a vote.
You want me to start?
Sure, Bob.
Bob Wyden, yes.
Eric Bamer, yes.
Laura Noonan, yes.
Melissa Pucci, yes.
Rich Hand, yes. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so the motion.
I think I'll
That's
make
all we need for
Jeopardy.
you.
Thank you guys, Jim,
right.
Jenna, I'll see you tomorrow.
All
Thanks,
right.
Andrew.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Andrew.
Andrew.
Never heard him speak and stuff in town, but never saw him. Good. Oh, that's Andrew.
All right, so I just want to keep this moving because we're running late.
Jumping back to.
Yeah,
6:55.
Yeah, so I just wanted to open up the discussion. You know, we had a nice meeting with Cameron's team, the COA, on 2 weeks ago, March 9th. Just want to see if everyone had any feedback on that meeting that we had. You know, we're planning to have other meetings together with them when topics come up.
I missed, right?
What's that?
I missed that one.
Yeah.
It was more the operations.
Operation.
Oh,
Jim
Jim.
and Jenna
Okay.
presented.
And then just for future
And-
reference, tomorrow night at the select board meeting, there's going to be a presentation too with Recal, just updating select board with plans and where we've been, how we've gotten there, as well as operations and budget.
And the packets in the presentations in the packet,
Yep.
if anybody wants to see it beforehand.
For select board.
Yep.
Yes.
Which is tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, can I say something? I
Sure.
just want to say I was thoroughly impressed with how well Jane ran that meeting. She had complete control of that room.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that says a lot about, how she is in her role as acting town manager. And I think,
Yeah.
you can see that we have someone good in this role, and it would be a shame to potentially lose her. It's just my 2 cents.
Agree with that.
Yeah, she made everyone feel at ease, I think, She had some good, she was calm, she was very good, very knowledgeable too about everything, all the details.
Knows a lot.
And she wasn't afraid to say, hey, I'll get back to you as well,
Yeah.
which I thought was being honest, which I thought was nice as well. So any public comment on that at all in terms of the discussion? All right, so we'll jump into the next one. This is your turn, Jim.
That's me.
That's you. And I know Ed's
I
off
want to play
today.
the role of Ed today.
All right.
A commitment. So I'll take care of it. Similar stuff that I mentioned last time. We opened up all our registrations for all of our summer programming. So this is outside of our big summer vacation program that we had mentioned, that we had 675 registrations and 6 or so hours on the first day. So we opened up all of our other programming. That includes any clinics that we run, any indoor programming with the schools, academic programs that we're offering to. And I'm happy to report again that our numbers were great. Last year on that day, we brought in about $37,000. This year, we brought in pretty much double at $65,000. So again, kudos to Ed, Sue, and our staff for getting programs up online that folks are looking to register for and sign up for. So that is good news. We're heading in the right direction. Last year, we kind of took a hit because we didn't have the field house. So I think our numbers were down somewhat because we had to utilize gym spaces that were a little bit smaller. So it restricted us on registration numbers. So this year we're back in the field house, which is wonderful. Few projects that are in the near future is Barrows Elementary School. I had mentioned it before that our goal was to replace all of that black mulch that's been at the playgrounds for the past 20 years. Barrows is going to be our first one. We're planning on doing it April vacation. I'm working with DPW to help with the removal process. DPW is going to pay for half of the dumpster as well as rec. They're going to provide the manpower with the highway department to get all that mulch out. So the playground will probably be shut down for hopefully just that week of April vacation when the kids aren't in school. So I'm working with DPW to set up the schedules, and what we're going to do is we're going to bring in certified wood mulch, which is where you see over at a few of the playgrounds that we have right now. Wood End has it, Birch Meadow Elementary School too. It's a lot better. Kids won't be coming home with black on their shoes or on their face. So that'll happen during April vacation. And then the plan is to go to Joshua Eaton next. Will that happen this year? I'm not sure. I'm hopeful that it could. And then the remaining playgrounds would be Memorial Park, and then Sturgis is the other one that has that rubber mulch. So working on that. I got a few new tasks that Jane has me exploring. One of them is a town naming policy. Schools have one right now for naming, whether it's schools, gymnasiums, courts, fitness rooms, things like that. The town doesn't have a policy for naming rights, so she has me exploring different options, what other towns are doing. So I am in the very beginning stages when I start pulling things together. It's probably going to be a policy that probably is going to end up with the select board, but I'm going to utilize all of you and your expertise to help with this. I don't want to be the one with my naming policy. So I will utilize you once I put together some drafts and
You left me out of the naming. Well,
yeah. So I'm working on that. Another initiative too that was brought up at a select board meeting is looking at a snow shoveling program. In Wakefield, they have the Snow Angels, which is a volunteer group of whether it's high school students or young adults that are going out and helping folks in need of shoveling services, whether it's the senior population, folks who are unable, mobility issues, to help take care of, it would be their stairways, it'd be walking paths, it would exclude driveways. and it would only be shovel only just for liability reasons. We don't need kids going out there with snowboards
Yeah.
or any gas devices, and there wouldn't be any plowing. So I've got a pretty good draft going right now based off what other towns. The biggest thing is speaking with the town's insurance agent to make sure liability and we are covered. They think we should be okay because it's going to be a volunteer-based program. It's not going to be a pay-for program. It's going to be volunteer-based. We're going to work with the schools to talk with whether it's NHS, any clubs they have there, sports teams. And my plan is to open it up to even adults. I don't know if some of you know, I do plow for the town too. I got an exemption to plow when we had snowstorms offside work hours. So when I'm driving around, there are a number of adults that go above and beyond to take care of their neighbors. I need to find out who those neighbors are that are in need. I'm sure there's neighbors that are out there that are afraid to ask for help. So what my plan is to come up with a map of different sections in town and find out who is in need of these services and basically put packs up on these and then see if we have a volunteer that might be in that area so that they could maybe just head down the road and take care and help out these folks. So I'm working on it now while we're talking about snow or got snow today instead of waiting last minute. So I'm hoping to have a plan.
You missed the window.
I'm fine with missing the window.
Jim, I have
You don't need anything
Yeah.
more.
Did you say not driveways?
Not driveways. Driveways would be excluded. If someone, an adult, makes a decision outside that they want to help with a driveway, that is not on us or the town. So if someone is helping them, it's outside of what we're kind of providing.
And so you'd want the volunteers to do the walkways?
Walkways, any paths that may lead to a side entrance or a garage to get to a
Basic
car.
egress, right?
So basic egress.
Okay, okay.
So the driveways, that would be extremely difficult with just a
Shovel.
shovel.
Yeah.
If you get one long driveway,
Yeah.
it's not going to work out.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the things we hear about at Elders, where I work at Elder Services, pathways to like their oil access,
Yeah.
to oil delivery.
So that's a great recommendation, yeah.
So that's something that's truly needed.
Or clearing even the vents that
Yeah.
are outside
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I mean, we get calls, can't get the oil delivered, they're gonna run out of oil,
Yeah.
lose their heat. And so it's really something that's necessary.
So yeah,
What
it's
do you do? Do you get people down there, volunteers to go down?
My team looks for people to volunteer.
You have a host of people ready to join this program?
Well,
What's you out there?
but thank you.
What was
It's
it
not this
called?
community. It's not-
Pathways to,
Like oil.
okay.
Oil
Okay, I thought it was
deliveries.
at a
Oil
specific-
deliveries.
Gotcha.
Oil deliveries. The thing about driveways as well is Meals on Wheels can't be delivered for older adults if driveways aren't plowed. So driveways are really important. I understand it might not fit into this, but just keep that in mind
Okay.
for some individuals who are homebound and receive Meals on Wheels. They really need to have their driveways and their
Yeah.
sidewalks.
Another option I thought of too, like if we catch some legs on this, I'm sure there's folks out there that either own landscaping businesses that are more than willing to
Yeah.
help, where maybe I could simply connect them with them saying,
Yeah.
hey, they're willing to offer these services at little to no charge,
Mhm.
but you got to go directly through them. Like, here's a list of companies that are willing to help out. I'm sure they'd have to fill out some kind of liability with the plow company or whoever's got a plow on their truck, because things can go wrong. Someone could hit a
Yes.
sprinkler head, someone could hit a mailbox, and
Yeah.
who's paying for that?
A lot of local ones around here.
Yeah. So Melrose has the same program.
Do they?
Yeah, Melrose. If you're looking for-
Do you know what it's called?
Um,
And some towns do
I
charge.
forget what they call it.
Yeah.
I'll get it for you, the name.
Arlington used to have one too, but
Yeah.
I think they're not functioning these days. I think it kind of sunset with COVID and they never really came back. But I might have some old literature
Okay.
Yeah.
on it.
Bob, did you have something you were gonna say?
Did I? I think I may have, but I think either it was answered or I kind of forgot.
Okay.
Do you have any hand up? Oh, okay.
No.
I think it's a great idea, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. It's been fun. I'm not gonna give away names or anything like that I want to call this, but I
Yeah.
got some fun names and some fun graphics and some good ideas to make it worthwhile for whether it's students or, some adults that are willing to help out.
Yeah.
So I'll be working on that.
Oh, Jim, you know what? I was going to ask you about the naming policy and what are other towns doing? Like, have you gotten that far with it yet, or?
Yeah, so most of the other towns, what they do is they form kind of a subcommittee where they're pulling in, whether it's someone from recreation committee, a select board, It could be the athletic department because we do have some fields, youth organizations, so they form almost a naming committee with stipulations on who can apply, when they can apply, how long it's going to take, and the whole process of the approval. More than likely, it's a recommendation that starts. If it was a town field, it would come to the recreation committee. Recreation committee, they're in support of that. Then it would move on to the naming committee. Naming committee looks at it, they're in support of it, then it would go to the select board potentially for approval. That's what I've seen in 2 or 3 different towns I've done so far. So we'd probably be forming some kind of committee that would have a bunch of different players involved.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I mean, there's conservation too. There's pathways that are going to name, you know, there's a Matera cabin that's out there. There's a pavilion that's out there too. So it would involve conservation. Facilities may be involved too with the schools if they're overseeing a facility. So it's just figuring out who would be the appropriate folks to be in those groups to help make these decisions. It's a hard thing when you get people come and say, I want to name this after somebody. It's really hard to say no. So I think the more committees we have,
That's right.
with
You
insight.
need to spread that out, Jim. Right?
So I am gonna try to water this down as much as I can. So that will be the plan. So I
Start
started working on it last week. So
with naming snowplows or something like that.
snowplows are already named.
Named, yeah.
We have them all.
Really?
Yeah. The Scoop
Right.
Dog. You haven't seen Scoop Dog?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
Scoop Dog's out there.
the Blizzard of Oz is my favorite.
Blizzard of Oz. So I think that's more done just in jest, and the kids get to decide at all the schools, so they get to pick that out, which is pretty fun. Just moving right along, Birch Meadow Phase 2, we're waiting for that warm weather to show up so that we can finalize the playground and get the surfacing done there, and that they can put some seed down on that grass and get it growing before we can open that up. So until it gets turned back over to town, that fence will stay up right now. We're hopeful that we get warm weather in the next month or so. And the company can come back here and get that pour and play surface down and then get the seed down, hopefully in the next month to a month and a half.
Courts look awesome over there.
They do look great.
Sorry.
Can't wait to turn the lights on.
So the playground at Birch Meadow, that's not getting wood chips, right? That's getting that
That's
like
getting
spongy, bouncy.
Or pour and play similar to what the Rise playground has. So we did finish that already. The Rise playground right outside the school it's like a bright maroon color. We're going with a nice soft green colors to match kind of the landscape of the area.
But the other playgrounds, they're getting wood chips. Is that just because it's not like the budget?
Yeah, it would be very difficult to bring in. It's pretty expensive, but if we are to upgrade any playground and do a redo, which I know Barrows is going to be coming up relatively soon, we would go to that pour and play, which is pretty much the industry standard right now for accessibility.
Just getting the rubber mulch out is a good start.
I wish I had done it sooner, but some things came up and I couldn't do it last year, which I won't get into.
That stuff is great. I just came back from Florida, and one of the playgrounds there that we went to frequently had that stuff.
Good on the knees.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The spongy.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's
That's nice.
accessible.
And it's relatively easy to maintain. You may have a kid go out there and drop their scooter on there and it could chip it up, but there's a warranty that comes on it, and probably have them once a year and patch up.
Kids these days. I remember
At the playground.
Just a quick update, Recal and pickleball. I know we talk about it a lot. We're just waiting for the timeline and the schedule for the contractors to talk about when groundbreaking is. One thing we were speaking with our interim town manager now is doing a photo op when the time comes. I don't know if the shovels will be golden. I see a shovel back there. But photo opportunities to include, I know the COA would be invited, Elder Services, rec committee too. So if you are interested, I'll let you guys know when that is going to be happening. I would say it's probably, we're a few weeks away, I'm guessing.
Nice.
So I'm hopeful that we get the construction schedule pretty soon. And after doing the meeting minutes earlier today, the pickleball bids did come in. I don't know if anyone heard, it came under bid. The town had put out 1.5 million for the pickleball courts for all alternates, meaning 7 courts fully lit with one fully accessible. They are all accessible, but there is one that is fully accessible, if that makes any sense. It's a bigger court, but they all are accessible. There is one that is specialized for.
Is that the one that's at the far end of?
The far end, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
almost looks like a tennis
Yeah,
court.
it's pretty large. I wonder if that'll be the main court, but that'll be priority for folks with a disability. So that'll be there. So it came in at 1.158. So a little,
Nice.
almost $400,000 under what was budgeted. So that's great news. Last
Jim,
thing.
I'm sorry, Jim, the money that the Pickleball Players Association raised, does that go towards the construction?
That's $225,000 are coming off. There's $100,000 coming from rec capital, and there's funds from Burbank coming. So I don't want to say the wrong number, but I think like the total cost outside of that is about $600,000 after we knock off all
That's good.
those numbers.
Yeah.
So
And this is in line with the construction costs coming down that we had heard before.
yep,
that
and
last-
recal came
Yeah.
down. Yeah, recal came down
Yeah.
almost $3 million.
So it's in
under budget.
basically
Yeah,
construction.
trending down.
Yeah.
Right now, but who knows what will
Yeah,
be
sorry
happening.
with that. Yeah, right.
And then just my last update, just waiting for the fields to dry so we can open these grass fields, and I don't see it happening anytime soon. DPW will be out there as soon as they can. They can't put vehicles out on these fields, especially the ball fields.
Yeah.
Those are the hardest to get up and going because of we've had that snow layer sitting on there. It's almost acted like a blanket, not a good blanket, almost like an insulator that's gonna keep that ground from
Is it
getting some
frozen?
melted.
Is it still pretty frozen?
The ground is soggy, but what happens is when they turn the dirt over in the softball fields, they aerate it. Once you do that, all that water just comes up and then you gotta wait again and you gotta constantly turn it over. So we had a wet spring. It's not spring yet, is it? We hit spring.
We
This
did.
spring.
Yeah, last Friday.
We hit spring.
Yeah.
But there's more
You
rain,
missed it.
so.
You're back into it there.
But yeah, I know everyone's itching to get on the field. The tennis court lights, we got those on this past week. The pickleball courts over at Memorial Park, those are open for play right now. Reservations are available on Play Local at our tennis courts and our pickleball courts right now. So everything is up online. And the turf fields, teams are out there practicing. You may see lacrosse out there or soccer if they're crazy enough to be out in the weather, but the turf fields are open for our youth teams to start getting out there. That's all I have for my report.
As always, it's amazing when I sit here and listen to you guys, everything you do. So
Yeah.
hats off to you and Jenna
We
and
got a good
Ed
team.
for all you do. It's amazing. And thank you for everything.
First naming rights we'll have is the Jim and Jenna.
Yeah, right.
I only have 8.
Some kind. Make a motion.
Yeah, you said
We have the minutes to review and approve. We have the minutes from the February 9th meeting. So we could just take a minute to look those over.
There's a typo on page 2, the last paragraph. It says Lauren.
I always mess up your name.
I feel like
I feel like I'm just really good at catching typos in people's names.
They are. Yeah.
And that one just happened to be mine. Although whenever I speak too quickly, people think my name is Lauren. Because I say Laura Noonan and like the N runs into
Yes,
the
it
A.
does.
I do these and I put them through ChatGPT to clean up and it missed it. It's got Laura everywhere else. Where does it say Lauren? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Page 2, yeah.
Middle and then bottom. Okay, sorry about that.
Can I ask, what does CPA stand for?
Community Preservation Act.
Okay, got it.
And then while you're reading these to the last 2 joint meetings, we're just waiting on a few of the amendments that we had made. And waiting for a few, I think, from COA, and we're gonna get them to you in April to approve both the January and March joint rep COA.
So a draft, we don't necessarily need to vote on. do we?
The draft, yeah, you need to vote on the draft, approve it, and make it official.
Guys,
Yeah.
even with the amendments that.
You can make a friendly amendment, yeah.
Action friendly.
Yeah.
Motion to approve minutes
From the
Second,
February 9th, right?
from February 9th.
Yep.
With the amendment.
with the amendment to fix my name.
The amendment to fix Laura's name. Lauren's name.
Yeah, second.
Second, great. All right, let's do, Bob, you started off to approve the minutes?
You muted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Eric,
Eric is a yes.
Laura Noonan, yes.
Melissa Pucci, yes.
Rich Hand, yes. The minutes have been approved for the February 9th meeting. 5-0, and we need a motion to,
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
all right? All in favor to adjourn?
Bob Wyden, yes.
Eric Bamber, yes.
Laura Noonan, yes.
Melissa Pucci, yes.
Rich Hand, yes.
All these Rogers.
All right,
Everyone?
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night, guys.
Thank you, guys.